Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Monday Night Football Best Bets and DFS Pick Show. I'm going to break down the single game slate between Minnesota and Chicago, talk about Vegas lines, talk about sharp betting, talk about the betting trends, as well as all the fantasy sports news on this game. And there's a lot of it, surprisingly, for this 43.5 point total right now, as that game has moved up 1 full point. And the Vikings have gone from a 2.5 favorite at the open to 3-point favorite currently, according to the DK Sportsbook. Actually went up to -3.5 at one point. A large barrier to cross is that 3-point favorite, as well as the 7-point favorite. We won't get that high, though. Now, before we get started, right now you're currently looking at the teamriseorfall.com study hub. You can get this for every single sport, as well as all sorts of things like top stacks, slate breakdowns, study hubs for season-long football, market share stacks, building blocks, rankings, tiered rankings, notes, player pools, all sorts of stuff. And you can get this for literally every single sport on the site, as well as Discord. And you can get all that for $29.99. Now, right now, we have this glorious promo. There it is. Beautiful. 10 off. Use promo code 10 off, which makes this $29 just $19.99. Now, you see this in bold. Monthly $20 credit to fantasycruncher.com. That's right. Every single person that subscribes with us gets a monthly $20 coupon to use towards FC. You basically just apply the credit to FC. If you are currently using FC Lite at $29, you can apply our credit and have FC Lite for just $9.99. With our promo being $19.99 for the first month, your FC Lite at $30 this month is the same exact price of what this would be with a promo and the credit. It's basically, we're free for a month, basically, with our current promo. So give it a look. I hope you check it out. I'm very excited. So promo code 10 off. It's our first promo we've done, as we're roaring over 1,000 members in Discord in our third month, and I hope you come party with us, all right? Now, let's do this thing. I have filtered by this Minnesota and Chicago button. I am going to make the screen a little bit bigger because I know things show a little bit differently when I do these videos. So the first thing I wanted to look at was the game flow tab. This one kind of highlights what I should expect tonight, and it's opponents' yards allowed and points allowed. So we know that Minnesota has been funneling opposing offenses through the air. So here's what we're going to do. With the data I see on the study hub tonight, I'm going to be talking about building a lineup on Superdraft, DraftKings, and FanDuel. You're like, Superdraft, why? Well, I won another $4,000 over there on Superdraft. That's $31,000 on the year over there on Superdraft. You can check out our Superdraft promo down below if you want my personal Superdraft projections every single week for every single sport. You get mine. I'm up 31K over there. So if you want to join me in the fun, by all means. So yeah, I'm going to support them after another 4K win yesterday. I'm going to build a lineup here today as well. So I'm going to be looking at using the opposing running backs against Minnesota. And who are those running backs going to be today? Well, that's going to be an interesting one. So it's going to be Ryan Nall, Cordell Patterson, and Lamar Miller has been activated for this game for Monday Night Football off the inactive list. Now, Lamar Miller slides in there as 4.5 times multiplier. That's really interesting. Fairly high multiplier. And literally, he just needs 40 yards rushing, 40 total yards, and a touchdown, and he is going to smash as probably the best play on the entire slate. We also saw through the study hub that 287.9 yards per game through the air to opposing wide receivers is what Minnesota is allowing. If I go to the defensive tab right here, we also see that they're giving up 31.34 points per game to opposing wide receivers. My friends, you need this in perspective, right? So I'm going to unfilter that, and I'm going to sort this column real quick. Look at this. The only team worse in the NFL against opposing wide receivers is the freaking Seattle Seahawks, who we all know are just absolutely garbage. We're talking historically bad against passers. So what does that mean for me? It means target Allen Robinson. I get it. He's been questionable all week. He's expected to play. A-Rob in a second-best matchup in the NFL this week. The only other team that would be a better matchup for him is the Seattle Seahawks. So, listen, A-Rob, questionable tag, I think keeps the ownership lower than it should be. I think everybody goes and they plug in Delvin Cook first at the champion spot. This goes for DK and FanDuel as well. But it's going to be Allen Robinson for me. I'm trying to take home first place for 6K. I am not playing the uber chalk. I still can use Delvin Cook at flex, no problem. But I'm going with the best matchup on the slate. I want to pivot and make Delvin Cook my second option. Now, Lamar Miller, absolutely is going to be included. Justin Jefferson, I'm hoping for that big game over the top. We know he can get there. 6 catches, 100 yards, and a score, which he's done 3 times this year, will end up giving me about 37 points on superdraft, which is what Delvin Cook potentially could get. But he needs quite the game there at 1 times multiplier. And again, if Justin Jefferson gets 6 catches, 100 yards, and a score, he outscores Delvin Cook if he goes for 200 yards and 2 scores today. 200 yards and 2 scores is 36 points. So that's how hard it is. Delvin Cook's just so weak at the multiplier spot. And the same goes for the champion spot at 1.5 times multiplier. It's very easy for Lamar Miller at 40 yards and a score to outscore Delvin Cook on a 200-yard rushing game and 2 touchdowns. Like, it takes an astronomical game for Delvin Cook over there. Can he get it? Of course he can. Do I think he has the chance to get it? Yes, absolutely. But I think the probabilities are just a little bit low. Last flex spot, probably going to be a guy like Adam Thielen. Or I think actually a very sneaky play is Cairo Santos at 2.45 multiplier. We did see over there on the Study Hub the defensive tab real quick. And again, you could have this Study Hub over at teamriseorfall.com for just $19.99 for your first month. If we're looking at the kicker spot, check this out. I found this to be an interesting trend. The Vikings are giving up the most points to opposing kickers in the NFL by 1.37 points per game, higher than every other defense in the NFL. That means apparently in the red zone, they shut people down slightly. Interesting, very interesting. But they give up a lot of field goals. So they allow people to move the football between the 20s, and apparently the defense shows up inside the red zone. So I think Cairo Santos is actually a very sneaky pick at 2.45 multiplier. All right, DraftKings, let's do it. Delvin Cook, very, very hard not to plug him in here. I think just the salary is just not high enough to where it needs to be to get me off of him, so I'm plugging him in there. It ain't hard to do so. You'll see why, because of one player who's just way too cheap. And, Delvin Cook, if he scores 29, 31, 51, 40, it's over. Your lineups are absolutely dead if you don't have him in the captain spot. Now, A-Rob, we know he's the next spot to use because of the matchups. I can totally do that. It's not hard at all. And here is why. Lamar Miller is just $200. What? So here we go. We've got these 3 players. This is the Uber Chalk start for your lineup. You're welcome, okay? If you're doing any single game cash, start here. You'll be all right. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, there's going to be 10 videos at minimum, potentially 12. I have 2 guests lined up. 12 videos potentially every single week going forward here on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Those 2 things are incredibly helpful for me. That is my marketing. I don't have a marketing team. It's a one-man show, and I have a bunch of people helping out in different areas of the website, but marketing-wise, it's my YouTube followers, which I'm going all in now with 10 to 12 videos per week. So hit that like button, hit that sub button. You'll continue to get all these free videos at you every single week. From here, it's probably players like Cordell Patterson here. I'm hoping for a goal line touchdown, maybe the lion's share of carries at 5.2K. I think the Bears defense against primetime Cousins is a fine play. You could even use the Viking defense in this game as well. If you want Vikings against Foles instead of the Bears, who might be a little bit chalkier against Cousins, go ahead, use the Vikings, and then go all the way up, and then roll out the Vikings, and you've got yourself a 3-3 stack in a very close game. And I think this is probably the way to go. I'm not entirely sure where I end up, but I often like to try to go 4-2 stacks, where I put 4 guys on the team that I want to invest in, whom I think is going to win. Speaking of, before we get to our FanDuel stuff, the Vikings are 4-1 in their last 5 against the spread against the NFC. Their last 5 games as a favorite, they are 4-1 against the spread as well. They opened as 2.5-point favorites, went all the way up to 3.5 point favorites on the DK Sportsbook, and are down to 3-point favorites against the Bears on the road, might I add. And sharp bettors actually currently have 16 of the 30 sharp bettors, when I'm looking at covers, are on the over and also on the Vikings spread at 17-13. So I will lean towards wherever the majority of the sharp bettors are going. So I am currently going to sit on the Vikings covering the spread and the game going over the 43-point total. I am interested to see what happens in this game. I think there's a myriad of factors that are going to make it very interesting. Without David Montgomery, does the offense really take a step back? I think potentially Cordell Patterson might be the team's best running back. Lamar Miller, potentially even better than David Montgomery. Maybe the Chicago Bears offense takes a step forward. I think the Vikings cover the spread simply because that offense can be a lot better with Delvin Cook churning out yards and scores. And if the offense of the Bears is better because, first off, Vikings defense is nothing special, but number two, David Montgomery might be holding them back. So I think I like the over as well. Let's build our final lineup here on FanDuel for the single entry. And the pricing here is a little bit different. And on FanDuel, running backs rule the day. It's touchdown equity for days. On DraftKings, you're hoping for pass catchers. So we're going to start with Delvin Cook. We're not going to get too cute here. And we're just going to eat the chalk here at the MVP spot. From there, we do need to get a little interesting with how we are going to make our picks because Lamar Miller, as I expected, is not there on FanDuel. Of course he's not, right? I mean, of course he's not. From here, I'm going down to these types of players. It's going to be Cordell Patterson, Ryan Nall. Let me see what his price tag was. Ryan Nall is all the way up there at $10K, so it makes me want Patterson more. So plug in Cordell Patterson. Let's see here. Cairo Santos is all the way up to 8.5K. That's a rough one to eat, but you still have 13K left over, and I think this potentially soaks up touchdowns for the Bears and the field goals, which we continue to see. 5 out of the last 9 Monday Night Football slates were won with a kicker in the lineup. So, I mean, what does that make you want to do? It makes me want to play them as well. From here, I mean, pay down spots. There's not really many players that are super cheap that you want to be targeting. You have so much money left over at this point. So I think it's probably plug in Allen Robinson and hope for the massive upside, and then Justin Jefferson, right? So you've got yourself touchdown equity. You have yourself like the big upside type play. You have the focus of the offense. You have the field goals anytime they can't score, and Cordell Patterson potentially taking the lion's share of carries. You don't need to fill out this salary. There's often salary left over for these Showdown slates, especially the ones where there's not a lot of studs or stars included. This was just hard, quick-hitting advice. I hope it helped you out. I'm going to bow out, go do one of my other 11 YouTube videos. I have a stream every single day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern every single day on twitch.tv/teamriseorfall. Again, please check out our teamriseorfall.com content. Use this beautiful promo and try to get signed up. There's so much cool stuff you can get involved as a member, and I hope to see you in Discord. Our Discord members went absolutely bonkers this week. I'll show you real quick. I'll load this up so you can see all these winners. We had multiple 4-digit winners yesterday. I did not even check to see who won last night in the Showdown slate, but in our winners section, I mean, we had winners after winner after winner here. People winning some serious money. Here, this was a QCM 77 2005. Had back-to-back 4-digit wins. Saturday through college football, I believe, and then Sunday through NFL. My man Porter having a nice big day over another 1K takedown in the afternoon. $3 play action slate. This was mine yesterday. I ended up having myself quite the day, and you can see the proof here. I know people always want it. DraftKings, we had a nice win here on FanDuel and superdraft. I won $4,100, and here were the totals. If you wanted to see it, you can see a lot of people were interacting about this yesterday. That's because I love my support, and I always give back to them. Bunch of free content, bunch of free goodies, giveaways, things like that. Please hit that sub button. 11 more videos inbound for you. Sub button, hit the like button. Drop a comment down below if you have a best bet that you like for the day, and if you have a best DFS pick. All right, my friends, together we rise, baby.